Imagine there is a bank that gives you $86,400 each morning. Every evening, it simply cancels all the money that you didn't use. What would you do? Probably spend every penny. Well, guess what? We all have this bank, and its name is time. When we get up, time gives us 86,400 seconds for the day. We can't save it for tomorrow, and we can't withdraw time from yesterday. How do we think about the time that we have? For one, we think about the million things that are screaming for our attention: rehearsals, video games, homework, tests, practice, our friends, our cell phone. And there's a part of us that's just overwhelmed with this never ending to do, have to list. And it's constantly fighting with our want to list. So, what do? Let's look at what Sam, Julia, and Jenna do. Sam procrastinates. He doesn't want to think about things till he has to. He'll deal with it at the very last minute, whether that means the night before or the day off. Julia simply can't say no to her friends, to the group that needs the extra pair of hands, the tech help, the relationship advice. She's wonderful to be around. She is sensitive, caring, and easily interruptible. Jenna doesn't want to think about what she has to do at all. She'd rather be hanging out with her friends or watching her favorite shows and their reruns. So Sam, Julia, and Jenna really don't show up in the time they have for the person that matters most, themselves. Like them, we don't really value the time we have. I often think, if I had more time, I'd play with my dog, I'd exercise more, I'd do this, I'd do that. But when that moment rolls around, often I'm not ready for it. I don't want to be morbid, but if we extend it all the way out and see what people say when they're dying, the most common dying wish is to live a life that's true to themselves, not live up to others' expectations. Their wish is to show up for themselves and for others. Woody Allen once said, 80% of success is showing up. That's the very first step of leadership. So, how do we show up? I, for one, used to sort of show up in class, sit at the back, didn't really participate or speak up. But I was there. How about you? How do you show up on the playing field? Excited? All out? Or just somewhat there? In guitar class? Hoping you can get by without having practiced? How we show up is key. Leadership is more than just being present. It's about being engaged in that moment, fully listening, fully participating, being fully present. The more fully we are present, the more we exercise leadership, because it shows that we care. It shows that we are committed. It also sets an example. If the leader doesn't show up, no one else does. Have you ever been in a group project where that one person just never comes? Or comes but doesn't seem involved? Doesn't deliver their part on time? Or does a sloppy job? No matter how much they say, I care about this project, you can't believe them. So let's go back to Sam, the procrastinator. What does he do to himself? He's stressed out, running late, and probably often in a crisis. He thrives on pressure and deadlines. That's just who he is. If we think about it, what does he do to others? He may be late handing in stuff, making decisions, causing others stress, and maybe turning in a mediocre performance. Sam might be able to meet a deadline, but not a goal. His procrastination affects how people see him and how much they can trust him to deliver. It's hard to be seen as a leader in these circumstances. What about Julia, the person who can't say no? She puts everyone but herself first. She doesn't want to say no to anything because of FOMO, fear of missing out. And she doesn't want to say no to anyone because she doesn't want to offend anyone. She blends in but doesn't stand out. She isn't able to take care of her needs and sometimes gets resentful. It's hard for people like Julia to be leaders. She shows up for others, but not herself. She actually feels like a follower, not a leader. Okay, now let's look at Jenna, who likes hanging out and chilling too much. She doesn't want to be accountable or responsible. It can be tough to be a leader here because she just doesn't have the discipline. There's some of Sam, Julia, and Jenna in each of us. It's hard to say that we procrastinate, can't say no, or slack off all the time. The question is, where do we tend to spend much more time? Let's face it, it's hard to show up. There's a whole laundry list of things to show up for, and it can be incredibly hard sometimes. You're tired, you don't want to go, you don't like the group you're in or the teacher of your math class. But even if you're not initially interested, showing up can improve your experience. If you get there, you've made a step just by showing up. But real leadership is more than just showing up. Leadership is showing up and being engaged. So, how can we show up? First and foremost, leaders must show up for themselves. If they show up for themselves, they manage their time better, are less stressed out, and get more done. So, can we actually do this? Yes, absolutely. The first step is to prioritize. You only have so much time and energy. If you want to show up 100%, you must choose to keep in your life the things that you are 100% invested in. What do you want to show up for? Friends, family, for the activities and clubs you're involved in, for the things you enjoy, for school, for the homeless person on the street, for your community? Decide what's most important and let go of the activities that don't serve you anymore. Next, be focused and be present. Ask questions. Be prepared to contribute. Follow through on your commitments. Learn as much as you can from the event you're at. When I started to focus and be present and prepared, I brought my grades up. It's so much easier to focus and learn in class instead of the day before the final. This is so much more time efficient as well. When you're with your friends, showing up for them means being 100% down to hang out and have fun with. Once you learn to show up for yourself, you can lead others. Be there for yourself, and you will be able to be